Good morning, America.
What's happening?
Somebody said that. Who was that? Paul Harvey? Good morning. It said "Good morning, America." I think started the show. Good
You
morning,
got me.
America. Yeah, Paul Harvey was before your time, anyway.
I didn't want to say it, but I was going there. I was going there.
He's back in the days of Charles Kuralt and all of those guys. Who? Who?
We just lost half of our viewers. They just quit. They just gave up. They left.
Well, some of the old ones were, oh, Charles Kuralt. I remember him. He was a good guy. Anyway, uh, tough subject today.
Yeah.
We've been talking about abortion, and I mean, if there is a comedic side to abortion, it's what's going on in Arizona, I think.
What's going on in Arizona? I don't know if I missed this or not. I try to miss a lot of things. So
Yeah, well, it's easy to miss stuff because it's like flying over our heads at light speed. Uh,
sure.
but they did away with the current abortion law and all because they want to have no abortions and everything. So while they're trying to rewrite a new abortion ban law, the old abortion law in the state of Arizona goes back on the books, and
Okay, what's that?
that was written in 1864. Now, let me put that into a little bit of perspective that you will understand. I just finished watching the Netflix, or no, it was on Paramount Plus, 1883.
Great show.
Great series, the predecessor to Yellowstone, and all. But and 1923 also
Another great show.
great series. But 1883, this is some 20 years after this law was written in Arizona. Okay, abortion law. 1883, the whole series is about the people in their covered wagons moving west to go to Oregon on the Oregon
Sure.
Trail. Now, I'm trying to figure out how the hell did they come up with abortion laws when there weren't even doctors around, except in these little small towns that they hit along the way. But they
Right.
had a law against abortion where
Did they sit there and the only way I could think that they come up with a law if that somebody tried to terminate the baby and something happened, like they, you know what I mean? Like I can't fathom that because delivering babies back then wasn't, I mean, you could die from that anyway.
what
So
absolutely, and it was generally done in the back of a wagon or on the ground anyhow. It
sure,
wasn't in
yeah.
sanitary areas, but they had abortion laws. Then fast forward, we finally said a woman has a right to determine her own destiny, which I still believe. The government shouldn't be saying, "I'm sorry, you have to have that baby," or whatever. But when Roe v. Wade was passed and everything, it seemed to be that step progress going
Wait a
forward.
minute, you got to go back. You got to go back. What is the 18? You never told us about the 1864 law.
Well, I mean, 1864 Arizona, which the series, but I'm just trying to put in context the fact that this was a time when America was just being discovered. They were all just moving westward at that time, and yet that the state of Arizona at that time had passed a law about abortion that
So what was that law? Was it banning abortions?
banning abortion,
Okay, that's what I was trying to understand. Okay.
right? And that was the law that stayed in place for nearly what 200 years or 100 years.
And then they had a different law and now they're going back to
Right,
18.
well, they had Roe v. Wade,
True.
which was the law of the land, and then
Sure. It got overturned.
yeah, the Supreme Court threw that one out, uh, and now the various states are doing their own thing. And right now, when we head towards our general election in November, a lot of states have got proposals on the ballot and all to do away with abortion bans or to save them. Whatever the states are going to come up with, for one thing, I think it's ludicrous for every state to have a different law. That's crazy. It really should be I think the law of the land. But whatever your feelings are, all of these laws keep getting challenged and thrown out, but not necessarily replaced. So Arizona, until they replace it with a more current 21st century law, they're following the law of the land in Arizona from 1864.
So here, this is such a tough subject too, just on so many different levels. Because, okay, I don't even know where to begin on this.
Yeah,
Number one, any law from 1864, unless it's like, please don't kill your neighbor's dog. You know what I mean? Like
right. Or no,
something
no
so
spitting on the
blatant.
sidewalk.
Yeah, so something blatantly obvious needs to be looked at. I think that's one of the biggest problems in our country is that we are still holding up laws from 200 years ago that in a lot of places that don't really talk about the today modern society, the problems. You can't look at it as black and white because back then it might have been black and white for whatever reason. We weren't there. I don't know.
It was probably because of
But
malpractice. I would
that's what I'm
assume.
that's
Yeah,
my guess too. But now I'm looking at it as this. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to say this, and it's a really simple, dumb statement. I'm not, I don't like abortion. I don't like talking about it. I don't like hearing about it because it hits me hard, big time. I don't think anybody says like, yay abortion, I don't you know what I'm saying.
right, right,
Although
right.
I will say this, I'm going to say this and I'm going to make some people mad, and that's what I do. I cannot stand the pro-choice protesters out there that are and pro-life for that matter, but pro-choice protesters out there that are so blatantly loud, disrespectful, man-hating, and sit there and are like, we can do what we want. Like they're so eager to sit there and get that abortion thing passed that they won't listen to anybody. And I say that to the pro-choicers too. I can't stand it. It makes me furious.
Yeah,
Because like, let's at least talk, guys. Let's hear dialogue here. So I hate it. Like my choice is, yeah, let's get that baby out of there. Because number one, that baby never asked to be made. That baby never asked to be in a situation where, okay, I'm now alive, now I'm dead. Now you could sit here and talk, and I'm going to leave the theological aspect out of it completely. You
yeah,
could sit here and talk about the science and go, when's a baby a baby? Look, come on, guys.
yeah.
We all
Or
went to school.
when does life begin?
We all went to
At birth
school.
or at conception?
We all went to school. We understand the schematics. We can do a YouTube video and watch the swimmers get in the egg and all that.
Right.
We can do that. My issue is it sucks that we are in a position where I believe, isn't there 11 states right now? I think that's what this graphic says. I don't know if there's more since this graphic, but I think there's 11 states that are at a total abortion ban, Texas being one of them.
Right.
My biggest issue with that is I do think there is a small percentage. I don't know what the number is, and it could be large. I'm just saying, where sometimes you have to look at the alternative. I had a situation recently where somebody I know got pregnant, and they obviously maybe weren't planning the baby, but A plus B usually equals a kid. If you keep playing around long enough, it will.
Right.
And things happen. Look, nobody's perfect. It's not saying the baby's a mistake. It's our fault. This is not me. This is somebody I know. They decided that they wanted the baby. They're like, you know what? We did this. We are going to have a baby. And yeah, that's a stressful thing. That's a stressful decision to make, even for people that are planning to have kids. Unfortunately, though, they found out pretty early on still later in the pregnancy where they could actually get the sonogram and see, and found out it was what sex of the baby.
Right.
And they found out that the baby had a lot of defects, so much so that this baby might not even make it through the delivery, might not even make it to term. And most likely, if the baby did, I mean, I'm not going to get into all the stats, but I know them. The baby was probably not going to make it. And the baby, really bad. We're talking like not just, simple image. I mean, we're talking like formation of the brain, just
Major
horrible.
deformity. Yeah.
And the baby was, if the baby came out, probably not going to survive through the night long at all. Like, just bad.
Yeah.
That is a tough decision, because I am not a mom. I am a dad. And despite what people think, dads, despite the bad rap over the years and the way the media portrays men, dads have massive feelings, and dads have the right to talk about something that they help make. That's a separate issue. But it was hard, and I can't imagine what the woman was going through as she's carrying this baby and can feel this baby move around, realize that their baby is not going to make it. And it could create health issues for her as well. So all these things, so they decided to terminate it, which, again, how you come to that decision, look, I don't know what the right answer is.
Yeah. Well,
But
what you're describing was a case right here in the state of Texas.
well, this, yeah,
And it went to the courts, and the court said, no, you have to have the baby. And the woman was saying, but it could cost me my life, not only the life of the baby, but it might cost me my life. Or
right.
if I make it through that pregnancy, chances are I will probably never be able to have another child.
Yeah. So
But but the
you're
courts are saying no, and then the courts appeal it, and now it's going to go to the next higher court. In the meantime, the pregnancy is moving along, and the
yes, getting
window
later and
for
later.
having the abortion to save this woman's life and all is closing quickly, and she was
Sure.
forced to go to another state.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. So this person I know went to another state.
Mhm.
And this was not just some clinic like, let me walk in and get, this is their abortions. What they handle is situations like this only. They don't handle like, oops, I had a baby, I don't want it, get rid of it. They don't
Right,
handle it.
right.
This is what you have to get recommended to this from a doctor. Like, so I'm not saying that it's a great thing. I'm not saying that it's lovely, but this is probably the best case scenario and best clinic that this person could have gone to. But they had to leave the freaking state of Texas to go to take the cost. And now you are driving or flying, knowing that you are about to terminate your child, which is a therapy session on its own. It's
Yes.
something that we can never comprehend. You have to leave your state, you have to endure the cost, then you have to come back, all
And,
because
and
Texas.
face the ridicule of having
Yes.
gone out of state. Yeah.
And all because the state of Texas has this high and mighty belief from a governor that, quite frankly, would rather do this than deal with like anything connected to guns, anything connect. I can't do it, man. I
Yeah.
can't do it.
No, and the bottom line is, this to me is a decision between the woman and her husband, or
Or whatever.
whoever, her doctor, and
Sure, the doctor.
maybe even you throw a clergyman in there, somebody that is giving some kind of guidance in that decision. But then the government comes in and says, no, you can't do it. Now, let me throw a scenario out there, and I'll use our state of Texas. If one of our state Congress people down in Austin decides, I'm going to go out and have some fun on Saturday night, and they go around the other side of the Capitol in
Sure.
Austin, and they hook up with some young chickie, and she gets knocked up.
Guess what they're going to do?
Yeah. Do you know how quickly abortion on that young chickie is going to be, so that that congressperson is not going to get into the wrong. I'm
That
just
happens. Look, that has happened. We have
I'm
proven
yeah,
it. We've proven it on a Washington level where
yeah,
we've probably paid for that abortion.
yeah. It's
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 a
in
double set of it's a double standard.
I don't need somebody. Look, I'm not, and this is where it gets sticky. Number one, I don't need the government sitting here telling me what to do when they don't follow the same rules. Number two, I have a really big problem with the, and I'm going to say it this way, but I need people to listen. With the my body, my rights, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. No, do I think that a woman who's been raped and then gets pregnant should have to be forced to carry that child? No, I don't. Um, I really don't, because yeah, there's actually a famous TV character that was the product of rape that is now a cop and all that. And we've heard stories, but dude, that is so small
Yeah,
and so
right.
minuscule. I don't think a woman should have to do that. But my problem with my body, my rights is, if you, and I'm not saying all women, so please hear me out, but there's a percentage, and I can pull up stats because I have them. Women that abuse this abortion as a term, or as a part of birth control. Oh, I didn't do it, so go ahead and give her this baby. You
Right,
got
right.
3, 4 abortions. You need to close your legs or get fixed. Okay. It's not your body anymore when you keep abusing it and you keep getting impregnated because you won't do anything to stop it. Once your body sits there and has a baby in it, man, you are sharing that body. And I'm sorry, ladies, I'm not God. I didn't make it that way. Okay. That's the way it is. But my
Right.
biggest problem is when they sit there and they say, oh, you're a man, you don't have a right to say anything. Let me tell you something. I absolutely do. Because without this, you don't have that.
It-
Period, point blank. Okay.
You're
So
you're right.
if I and I've been in a situation in the past when I was with a girl, and she got pregnant, and she went and took care of it without telling me. Okay. Probably to this day, that comes up in my mind. I had no control over it. Obviously, that girl was no longer with me anymore. And she's like, well, it's my baby. It's my right. And I'm like, but wait, I don't remember you just, being the Virgin Mary and creating something here,
Right.
So my issue is I do have the right to talk about it. I do have the right to bring up facts, because as a dad, as a man, as somebody is involved, why is it fair that you get to go terminate that child when maybe I want that baby? And that's a tough situation, because I'm
That's right.
not just, I'm not discouraging the woman, but I don't like when they throw that up, because I think it's bullcrap. I mean, I could talk
Yeah.
about my cat, and I'm not a cat. I'm just saying.
But I'm also saying that if you are in that situation, this decision should be a decision between you
I agree.
and the woman, and just in case she's far enough along in the pregnancy to determine whether it is a viable pregnancy or it's a problem, then the
Yeah,
doctor comes in. But when the government now
I
steps in
agree.
to
I
say
agree.
you will do this or you will do that,
I agree.
I have a real problem with that. And
I'm on your side on this.
yeah,
I'm with you on this.
and I do agree with you that sometimes both sides are pushing the media aspect of it, so
100.
so either pro-life or pro-choice. They it's almost, it makes you nauseated to see how vocal and how vehement each side will go on the issue, where it really is a little bit simpler issue than maybe we all think it is. And we just need to sit down and figure it out. But I will say that I think we have to have a nationwide policy
I think so too.
determined for this, rather than it being state by state. Because recently there was a political person, I won't mention names, that say, look, not in my state, you cannot get an abortion for any reason. If you want an abortion, get in the car and you can drive either 300 miles east or 300 miles west and get your abortion. That's putting the mother in the wrong position.
that's scary, man.
It,
What are we
it,
doing? We're smuggling across the state to do,
right,
I mean, like, I understand. I think this, okay, so there's an aspect like the government, I think, is definitely overreach every day of their lives. I think the federal government should stay out of certain state aspects. I agree. But this is a situation that creates a bigger problem for the country, a bigger problem for women, a bigger problem for children, a bigger problem for every state. Because
right.
now you've got a state that is like, I'm surrounded by states that banned it, that are banning it. I now have them coming into my state, which is fine, but am I wrong? Doesn't Texas say like if they find out, or they're trying to pass a law, like if they find out that you went to another state, that you can get in trouble, you can get a fine, like snitches and stuff like that? Like they're paying people to snitch? Isn't that what I mean? Essentially, that's what's
Right, right.
what are we
You didn't
doing here?
follow our state's law. You went someplace else to get the abortion, so now we're going to prosecute you for doing it.
Like, what are we doing here? Like,
It's
if
like,
it's legal for me, here's the thing: if it's legal for me to go smoke marijuana in Colorado and I do it, but I don't bring it back to Texas, I'm not high in Texas, you can't prosecute me for going to Colorado where it's legal to do weed, to smoke
right,
weed.
right.
I mean, this is stupid.
Yeah. But if you can't buy weed in Texas, but you need it for medical reasons,
Yeah,
and
go
you go
another state.
someplace else to get it and bring it back, now they can
You're in trouble.
prosecute you for having it.
Well, and I know, and that's kind of like I don't know, man. I'm
Hey,
worried about this situation. Also, when it comes to Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, I got to tell you, to me, that's a dangerous path. I'm not saying that we can't revisit laws and adapt and look at them. If anything, don't overturn
revise
it.
is a good word too.
There you go. That's what I was going to say. Don't overturn it. Revise it. Revise, because I do think that the abortion laws should be revisited. I do think that the abortion laws should have stricter policies on the hood rats out there and the promiscuous, dumb blonde women. No offense to blondes. I just said that. Dumb blonde women out there
You used to
that,
be a blonde, didn't you?
no. When I was a kid, I had light brown hair. I had this afro. I really did. I had this little tiny like afro. I was
Me
like, whoa.
too.
And then it turned dark, like, and then here we are.
That's a subject for another show.
But like these dumb people out there that don't understand that if you don't do anything to prevent yourself from getting pregnant, chances are, you know what I mean? Like, uh,
You're throwing the dice.
you're throwing the dice
You're
and
going to
a
get
couple other
snake eyes
things.
eventually.
You're gonna get something eventually. He's gonna get 2 eyes, 2 legs, 2 feet. But we need to have laws where, look, man, you can't be popping off an abortion every like 6 months, okay? Like,
That's right. Yeah.
we got to do something. But the overturning of it, oh my God, that's a scary, scary situation, man.
And right from the outset of the show, to live in a state where you are following a law that was written,
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
almost 200 years ago, that they ain't doing it. This
It's
is
creepy to me, man.
2024. The laws should reflect what is needed in 2024, not in 1864.
And there's got to be a balance. Look, for the pro-choicers out there and the pro-lifers out there,
Yeah.
you got to sit there and you really have to look at the data, at the situations, and what you're really saying.
You got to sit and talk about both sides and then arrive at the best solution for the majority.
Because I'm all for fighting for the baby's rights. I'm there
Yeah.
with you. I'm all for fighting for the man's rights. I'm there with you. And I am all for fighting for the women's rights. But we got to put that in a situation, in a sandwich, and we got to talk about it. We got to talk about the ingredients and talk about the rules.
And we are all agree that we are in favor of getting together again next week and doing another show of Trash Talk. So,
and a lighthearted show. I can't do this again.
yeah,
I'm too
okay,
stressed
yeah.
out.
We'll kick it up a few notches for next week. Promise.
I'm stressed
Okay?
out.
All right. We're out of here. Bye.